Welcome to Medill Sports Talk, where we break down the news this week for the sports you love. And as we get ready for this week's show, we'll start off Medill Sports Talk by breaking down the French Open. And of course, I'm joined by our tennis analysts, Connor Yan and Ananya Johari. Guys, we've seen lots of action going on throughout the French Open thus far. Lots of talented players. Let's start breaking it down here with our first segment. And of course, the clay court competition is well underway with the semifinals nearly set. And Rafael Nadal finds himself down a set and a break in the quarters to the Argentinian Diego Schwartzman, and play is currently suspended due to rain. Now, Nadal had won 37 consecutive sets entering his match with Schwartzman, but he's going to have to pick it up if he's going to make the semis. Connor, what's Nadal doing wrong right now?
Yeah, I don't think he's actually doing too much wrong. I think Schwartzman's just playing really well. I think he's taking advantage of the heavy conditions, which Nadal's forehand topspin isn't bouncing quite as high as it usually does. And against Schwartzman, he's a shorter guy, so that would really cause him problems. But I think Schwartzman's just being really aggressive. He's broken him 5 times already in the match through the first 1.5 sets. And so, I mean, Nadal's just going to have to pick up his level of play or sustain it and hope that Schwartzman falls off. Schwartzman definitely has been surprising thus far. Nadal with the big name, all that greatness that surrounds his name. Ananya, what's been going on in this match?
I mean, I agree with Connor. I think Nadal, he's just playing his game, but Schwartzman is just upping him. He's been terrific with his ground stroke. Breaking Nadal 5 times in a match is a big deal. He's done it in 1.5 sets. That's something just amazing. But I mean, rain delays have always usually helped Nadal, so Schwartzman has to be careful, especially right after they come back, because I mean, you remember the Rome final just about 2 weeks ago. Nadal was down the break, and then he comes back and beats Zverev in the final. So again, this rain break would be crucial, and it would be important for Schwartzman to make sure he does not let go of the momentum and he continues to play as he's been doing so far.
And what an upset that would be if Schwartzman is able to pull it off. Now, we all expected Nadal to be a fixture in the second week, but the biggest surprise of this tournament has actually been the Italian Marco Cecchinato. He advanced to the semis after taking out Novak Djokovic in the quarters and will play Dominic Thiem on Friday. Ananya, where has this come from, and does he have a chance to reach the final?
Okay, honestly, I don't know where he's come from though. He's been just such a big surprise. I mean, before coming to Roland Garros this year, he hadn't won a single Grand Slam match. He played 4 and lost all of them. But it's been just an amazing week for him. He won his first match 10-8 in the 5th, which went long. Then he beat Pablo Carreno Busta in the 3rd round, David Goffin in the pre-quarterfinals, and then beating Djokovic in the quarterfinals. It's just been amazing. And the thing is, he's not just beaten Djokovic, he's beaten Djokovic when he was making a comeback. I mean, he won the first 2 sets comfortably. Djokovic thrashed him in the 3rd set 6-1. In the 4th set, he was up 5-2. He served for the set. He could have taken it to the 5th set. And that is the time when Djokovic is at his most dangerous. And then breaking back Djokovic at that time and coming back to win in a tense tiebreaker. The tiebreaker had 24, 26 points, I think. And that was just an amazing performance by Cecchinato. And so, yeah, I mean, it's been just an amazing week for him.
It would definitely add to the surprises of this tournament. And Connor, again, do you think that he can make it all the way to the final? It'd be incredible.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I wouldn't want to bet against him. He's beaten so many top players, like Ananya mentioned, Carreno Busta, Goffin, and Djokovic now. And Djokovic didn't lie down in that tiebreak. He took it to him, and I mean, it was just high-level tennis in that tiebreak. 13-11. Djokovic had a few set points to extend it, a few match points from Cecchinato before he finally closed it out. And this is huge for him because now he's going to be seated at Wimbledon, and that just changes so many things for his career. Now he's getting into all the big tournaments and everything. So this is a huge week for Cecchinato's career.
Now, one thing we do have to keep in mind, that is Thiem, who will be standing in the way of Cecchinato in the semis. He has been to the semis the last 2 years. Connor, what have you seen from him this time around that makes you believe he can win his first Grand Slam this Sunday?
Well, with Thiem, I think it's just experience now. He's in the semis for the 3rd straight year, and he's just more mature. He's got much more experience on clay against the big names and in the big tournaments. So he's just much more mature now, and I think he is expecting to be here. He's not surprised that he's here. And I think that goes a long way. And plus, he will not have to face Djokovic this time, and he may not have to face Nadal if he goes out. So, I mean, that would be huge for him.
So, Nanya, it is definitely a different path for him, but again, surprising?
Again, I don't think it's surprising for Thiem at all. I mean, he's been here for the last 2 years. He now, as Connor talked about, he now knows how to play the big matches against big people. He beat Zverev in 3 sets, which is incredible. Zverev has had a great clay season. Beating him in 3 sets was incredible. I mean, it's true that Zverev had 3 5-setters before him, but again, beating a top player in a top match, it gives you confidence. It gives you the belief that you can go out and do it. And again, he's not going to play Djokovic, even though I think he beat Djokovic last year in the quarterfinals. So again, he knows how to beat the big players in the big matches. And if Nadal goes out, I don't think there's anyone who could stop Thiem for winning his first title here. And although he'll have to be wary against Cecchinato in the next match, because you really never know against those kind of players.
Now on the women's side, we were just notified by a huge piece of news to come out here of the tournament. Serena Williams had to pull out of the tournament before we got to witness a Serena Sharapova showdown. But the stage is set for a great finish to the women's side of the French Open. How big of a loss on this side of things is it now that Serena has had to pull out?
Well, there's still a lot of top players in the draw. You've got Simona Halep, you've got Garbiñe Muguruza playing each other in the semis, who beat Sharapova today. And then you've got Sloane Stephens and Madison Keys, the 2 Americans, who they were part of that All-American semifinal at the U.S. Open, and they look like they're going to be the next generation of women's tennis following the Williams sisters. So I think you've got a lot to look forward to with this. You've got a lot of the top players, and really it's anyone's tournament at this point.
Certainly will be exciting to watch. And again, Ananya, this was absolutely huge for this field. How much does this change the tournament now that Serena Williams is out?
I think it does change it a bit, although, I mean, Serena was not at her best form, as we know. She was just making a comeback. But even then, I mean, Serena pulling out is a big deal for other players, because they now just get an extra belief that they don't have to face her in the draw at any time. But again, there's still a lot of top players remaining. I mean, we have the rematch of the last year's final of the US Open, Stephens and Keys playing each other in the semi-final. And then Halep, I mean, Simona Halep has been a great player. She's just too good a player to have not won a Grand Slam so far in her career. So I think she was in the final last year at the French Open too. She was up a set in a break, but then lost. I think she'd be looking forward to win her first Grand Slam. But standing in her way is Muguruza, and she's someone who has a big match temperament, who's won Grand Slams in the past before. She has actually beaten Serena in a Grand Slam final. So it's not going to be easy for Halep, but yeah, I think this is the best chance she's got.
And now that Serena Williams is out, Ananya, who's the favorite to win this whole thing if you have to pick one person?
Okay, so again, to pick one person, I think I'll probably go with Sloane Stephens. Sloane Stephens has had a good time so far, and she's had good results in Grand Slams, winning the US Open last year. And if you look at her tournament this week, she's played some incredible matches. She's won 2 sets 6-0. Few of them have been 6-1 and 6-2. So there was only one match she was still. I think it was against Camilla Giorgi, and there she was challenged. She won the 3rd set 10-8. But again, it was 8-6, I think, the 3rd set. But she, apart from that, she's been terrific in all the matches. She's won her sets comfortably. And if she wins against Keys, she'd be a strong favorite to win the French Open.
You're taking Sloane Stephens. Connor, who are you picking?
Yeah, I like Sloane Stephens, but I'm going to stick with Simona Halep. I picked her before the tournament started. She does have a tough match against Garbiñe Muguruza in the semis, but she's been so close to winning the French so many times, and I think she finally gets it done, finally wins her first major. And yeah, I'm just going to stick with my original pick.
We'll just have to wait and see what happens. Now the French Open finishes up this Sunday. And Ananya and Connor, thanks so much for joining me here to talk tennis on Medill Sports Talk. When we come back, Alexa Adler and Nick Manta step back into the studio to talk NHL and the Stanley Cup Finals. Don't go anywhere. This is Medill Sports Talk.
We will cheer you all the go.
Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
At Northwestern University, we are pioneering innovation and achieving excellence across every imaginable discipline. Western University, the possibilities are endless.
Welcome back to Medill Sports Talk. I'm Darren Zaslow, this time joined by our NHL analysts Alexa Adler and Nick Mantis. Guys, thanks so much for joining me. The Washington Capitals have taken a commanding 3-1 series lead in the Stanley Cup Finals over the big surprise, the Vegas Golden Knights. Since losing Game 1 6-4, the Capitals have won the past 3 games consecutively, outscoring Vegas by a combined 12-5. Alexa, how have your Washington Capitals turned this series in their favor?
Well, let me just say, I don't mean to gloat, but I kind of do for a second, because out of everyone on Medill Sports Talk, I'm the only person who saw the Capitals going all the way. I actually predicted pretty much every game on this show correctly, so maybe I have a little hockey intuitiveness here. But I will say the Caps have done an incredible job of using puck luck to their advantage and really playing with their depth. So they've really outplayed and out-hustled Vegas because all of their lines have been very strong and their special teams have been incredible. Their power plays and their power kill teams have really made the difference in what could be a Game 5 win, and the first time in 43 years that Washington will hoist the Stanley Cup.
Now, Nick, this Washington team has struggled mightily in the Stanley Cup playoffs and could have been seen as kind of the underdog in this series. How have they turned this series back in their favor?
Well, I think they've honestly listened to what we said here on Medill Sports
I
Talk.
agree. They must watch.
They must watch. One of the things that we were mentioning last week was that they just have to be more aggressive. And exactly where they need to be aggressive was right in the middle of between those blue lines, making sure that turnovers were in a situation where you weren't going to be soft in any way. And these guys are playing like the big bad bullies on the ice, right? So with that, what they're doing is guys like TJ Oshie, he's not only scoring goals like he did in Game 4, but he's doing so in a way where in tight situations he's getting the puck, and on an off puck type of situation, he'll make sure he gets that pass. But when you're in tight situations, another guy will try to pressure you, right? And he's gonna hit you. TJ Oshie will pass the puck, right? And instead of taking the hit, he hits the guy. And that's part of the situation that we see with these guys. They are being more aggressive, especially right now when it matters most, and that's why they've won 3 straight.
You were talking about playing the neutral zone too. That's been a huge difference.
Huge difference. Well, I mean, I got to give a shout out, of course, to TJ Sochi, an American hero, as we all know. Yeah, I think that the grit and the determination and the aggressiveness of all of the players of the Capitals, they're taking hits, but they're being smart about it. We talked earlier about Tom Wilson, how he needs to be smart because we don't want to see him in the box, because we don't want to give Vegas an opportunity to capitalize from a power play. He's been playing smart, but still physical. Ovechkin, we got to talk about the shot blocking. The guys like Ovechkin, Devontae Smith-Pelly, all the players are stepping up. I think the statistic is that Vegas had 54 shots in the last game, and over 20 of those were blocked by Caps players and never even made it to Holtby. So that's incredible. That's obviously a huge help for Holt Beast.
Taking a look on the Vegas side of things, the last time a team came back from a 3-1 deficit in the Stanley Cup playoffs was back in 2015 when the New York Rangers defeated, we've been talking about them, the Washington Capitals in the second round of the Eastern Conference Finals. Nick, can Vegas do the same and win 3 games in a row to take home the cup?
Well, as Kevin Garnett always says, anything is possible. You never know what could happen. And with these Golden Knights, being that they are an expansion team, they're fresh, they're new, they have the possibility of doing so, but they have to do so in a way that the NHL will be a lot more accepting in the way that they're playing. Right now, the way that they're playing, they're getting, kind of like the soft way of playing. They look like, the little kid who wants the older kids in the school to give them their ball back. They're playing a little bit more gentle hockey, to the way of where there's a lot of head fakes. There's a lot of what we quote unquote in NBA where they call flopping. In the NHL, it's called taking a dive. The Knights have been doing a lot of that, and this is the wrong time to do that because the NHL doesn't care. You want to win, you got to get tough. The Capitals are hitting you in the mouth in 3 straight games. So what are you going to do about it? You're on your home ice now. It's Game 5. Show me something that proves to me that you actually want to win it.
Maybe it's the shaky knees because of the pyrotechnics that they're shooting off
Be it.
in the pregame show. That might be something to blame.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So do you think, Alexa, that Vegas can come back? It'd be an amazing comeback if they could do it.
Sadly, I think that the bandwagon has turned back into a pumpkin. I think their uniforms are sort of turning back into the yarn, and that their fairy godfather, Gary Bettman, has gone home. I think it's over for the Vegas Golden Knights. I just don't see them coming back from this. To go down, for the Caps to be up 3-1 right now, that's really hard to come back from. I think the Capitals want it. Ovechkin, he wants that Stanley Cup. Holtby, these are guys. The only player on the Caps team that has won a Stanley Cup is Brooks Orpik. So this team is hungry. Barry Trotz wants it. And I think that what's really going to be the tough pill to swallow is for George McPhee, the Golden Knights GM. He's responsible for picks like Ovechkin, Backstrom, Holtby, Wilson, all of our Kuznetsov, all of our heroes. He built that team.
Yeah.
And this is actually quite ironic because I believe this is the first time in sports history where a championship matchup has sort of been, both teams have been sort of built by the same person, and that is George McPhee. And he used to be childhood friends and former teammates and worked with Brian McClellan. He brought Brian McClellan to the Caps, and I think it's very hard for him now to not only have been fired in 2014, sort of a messy breakup from the Caps, but also with this family history, friendship. I think it's really hard to see the Caps and Brian McClellan do so well and to feel like you're once again getting the short end of the stick.
A personal gain for that, he wins either way. He built the Caps, and now he's building this great team that's making an incredible run. So it'd be interesting to see how his emotions play out.
And you almost wonder if Washington, again, being the favorite in the series for Vegas, if they're kind of playing with house money at this point. Again, it's an expansion team. They've never played a full season together. It's impressive.
It's impressive. I like that.
We'll say this, though. The Golden Knights do have the home crowd on their side for the next game. For Game 5 tomorrow, the Golden Knights will be playing at T-Mobile Arena. And Vegas this year has been incredible at home, winning 29 of their 41 home games during the regular season. Washington, however, has won 21 road games this year, which ties for the most in the Eastern Conference's Metropolitan Division. That's impressive. Alexa, with a win, the Capitals would secure their first Stanley Cup franchise ever. So, would you pick this team to win Game 5? Can Washington do it?
Absolutely. They're going to end it. Game 5, it's over. Ovechkin, Holtby, this entire team is rallying around the depth we are seeing. Every single player is coming to these games, showing up. Lars Ellers, Kristen Jews, everyone on this team wants it. There's not a single player that is on that ice that is slacking off or not making smart plays. So I think that I think that DC is finally going to win the Stanley Cup, which is going to be huge because the last time DC celebrated a sports championship was when the Redskins won the Super Bowl in 1991. So I think it's time. It's time for DC to be all Caps and rocking the red.
We'll see if they can do it. This could be the first time they've ever won the Cup. Nick, can they bring it home to DC?
No. I mean, not that they can't win the Cup, but I think in this Game 5, you're on your home ice. If you're Vegas right now, you're going home to the fans that love you and have embraced you, especially after the tragedy that's happened within that community this last year. I think that one of the key moments that the Vegas Knights have to make sure they take advantage of, especially in Game 5, is crashing the net on Holtby. There were way too many rebound opportunities, way too many chances where they've hit in the pipe and they're not getting the goals that they should have been getting. So I see them crashing the net, being in Game 5. They're putting the pressure all on them, and they're going to show up tomorrow night and force a Game 6. What happens after that in Game 6 and maybe in Game 7, we'll have to wait and see, and that'll be interesting to try to diagnose. But when it comes to Game 5 on your home ice, in front of your fans, in front of your family, I think the Knights got this one.
But do you know what's really interesting is I actually thought that the Knights tried to come out really strong in Game 4. I think that Ryan Neal missed open goal, or James Neal, pardon me, missed open shot in the first period. I think that's sort of what made the difference between the Knights kind of playing, defensively and scattered for the rest of the game. And it's just like, it really goes to show that puck luck matters. And once you get on a roll and once you get in your routine and you're scoring and you're playing well together, that's when the magic happens. So we'll see if they're able to sort of collect themselves and come back. But once you have this momentum of winning, as the Capitals have 3 games in a row, it's really hard to come back from that for the Knights.
You bring up magic. It might even be a little more special, too, if Washington wins their first ever Stanley Cup again on their home ice. Not trying to say they're going to blow any of these games, but that would definitely be exciting for these Capital fans who really want this title.
Really
now, in sports history, we have seen many triumphant comebacks. Just to name a couple, in 2004, we saw the Boston Red Sox overcame a 3-0 deficit in the ALCS to defeat the New York Yankees in 7 games. Then move forward to 2010, the Philadelphia Flyers trailed the Boston Bruins 3 games to none in the Eastern Conference semifinals before winning the next 4 games in a row to advance to the next round. Now, Nick, if Vegas were to come back from being 3-1 down in the Stanley Cup, would this be the biggest playoff comeback in sports history?
Yes. It would. And this because of the implications of what this is. This is the cup. This is making sure that your personal name is engraved on the trophy that goes from town to town. Now, it's going to be extremely difficult for that type of situation to happen, but when it comes down to it, the Yankees and the Red Sox, that was in the ACLS. When you were talking about the Eastern Conference Finals and stuff, that was in the Eastern Conference Finals. This is not the Stanley Cup Finals. And I think it would be bigger. Now, everybody in the NBA world is gonna kill me on Twitter for this, but I think it would be bigger than the 2016 coming back from down 3-1, LeBron and the Cavs versus the Warriors. And I'll tell the reason why is because of the fact that LeBron and the Cavs had a 2-0 deficit. They won Game 3 to make it 2-1. After that, that's when they were able to go down 3-1 and then came back from 3-1. The Knights, they were down 1-0, and the Caps have won 3 straight. So coming back from losing 3 straight, I mean, the Caps right now, I mean, they are smoother than some hot butter right now. They are on a roll winning those 3 games, okay? So getting that type of momentum back with your organization, being back on your home ice, we'll see what happens, but this would be the biggest comeback in sports history.
But the Caps, too, I mean, they have blown these types of leads. They have been susceptible to this. Alexa, if Vegas can pull this off, again, same question, is this the biggest comeback in playoff history in sports?
Well, I think it would definitely be the biggest comeback history in sports, but mostly, too, because the Stanley Cup, it's well known that it's the hardest thing to win in pretty much any sport. So winning a cup puts you up here already. The problem with Vegas is that they already have this incredible story because they're an expansion team. They played so consistently and so strong throughout their regular season and then winning the Western Conference that this must really be shocking to them that they've sort of fallen apart to a team that most people counted out. Most people looked at their regular season. The Caps didn't do so well against the Golden Knights during the regular season. So I think that this is just so surprising to them, but I don't think they're going to be able to do it. I think that the Caps have figured out their formula. They know how to shut them down. They're on a roll. I don't see them coming back.
Caps have blown 5 3-1 leads in their history.
Right, but they're playing a different game now, and I've never seen the Caps work so well together and play so strong. This team has a lot of history and depth. They've got this.
They've never seen the Knights before, too.
That's
so
true.
That'll be interesting.
And 28 teams in the NHL have come back from being down 3-1. It can happen for Vegas. Looks like that's all the time we have on this week's NHL segment. For our hockey analysts, Alexa Adler and Nick Mantis, I'm Darren Zaslow. And when we come back, we'll take you right onto the hardwood to break down the NBA Finals. Don't go anywhere. This is Medill Sports Talk.
Hey, what you wear, how you dance, or even what direction life takes you. You just need to be there. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care don't need perfection. They just need you.
Every day across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, giving hope to millions of children who struggle with hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Together, we can solve child hunger. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Cook foods to the right temperature using a food thermometer. 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Really? Buzz, what's up, man? You left some leaves burning out here.
Yeah, I just came in just for a second.
Come on, man. If it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave. You could torch the whole neighborhood.
It's a good point there, Smokey.
9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Why hang around waiting for opportunity to knock when instead you can track opportunity down and knock on its door? You might ask, what's the best way to identify where opportunity lives? Here's a hint. Its door is colored purple. Northwestern University. Opportunity awaits your knock.
At Northwestern, that's in every way.
Medill Sports Talk. I'm Alexis Colmer, joined by Hogan Davis and Lauren Rosen, and it's time to talk some basketball. Game 3 of the finals is tonight at 8 p.m., where we're going to catch you up on everything that has happened so far. So you've probably heard a lot about this guy, J.R. Smith. Hogan, can you take us through what happened at the end of Game 1?
I can try. I don't think JR could take us through the end of Game 1 and we'd get the whole thing. I'll set the scene for you. 4.7 seconds left. The Cavs are down 1. George Hill draws the foul, goes to the free throw line. He's got 2 shots to win the game. Makes the first. The camera pans in on him, and he is not ready to win the game, to take this second shot. Short off the front rim with the second free throw. J.R. Smith, inexplicably, is the one who grabs the offensive board. And J.R. Smith, who always sees a shot he likes, does not go up with the ball. Instead, dribbles out past the three-point line like he's playing pickup and has to take it back before he can score. And LeBron is waving his arms and screaming at him, trying to get him to go back toward the basket. He had dribbled out most of the clock, tried to pass it to George Hill after that, who didn't get a shot up and got blocked as time expired. It was one of the most incredible plays I've ever seen. And I don't even know how to talk about it.
Yeah, Lauren, what was your impression of JR at the end of the game?
It was bizarre, but I have to wonder if JR truly didn't know what was going on, which he clearly didn't. Did everyone else not know what was going on either? I mean, I know LeBron called for timeout. I know he wasn't sure if they even had a timeout, which is based on what he said in his press conference yesterday. But it was messy, right? I mean, even Kevin Durant couldn't get that rebound. When you have J.R. Smith and Kevin Durant fighting for a rebound, who should win that battle?
Yeah, what were they talking about around the free throw line? I mean, you're always talking about who's got shooter or where you're going. Like, look up at the scoreboard, maybe?
Doubt.
I mean, I don't know what you should have been doing, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, that actually brings up a good conversation that a lot of the players complain that they can't see the scoreboard. Like, they can't see the points, they can't see the timeout. So that's a question for our commissioner, I think,
But
Adam
at the same
Silver.
time, like, even children, you go out, you watch Little League, you watch little kids playing basketball, like, you gotta know the score, right? You see dads hounding children for not knowing the score. At the end of the day, like,
NBA Finals.
And I feel bad for JR, I really do in this situation, but like, how much slack can we really cut him?
Right.
Know the score. It's the NBA Finals, what you just said, know the score.
Well, and then the shot after time expired, he's walking away and just the dumbfounded look, and he turns to the camera, he's basically, the camera's right on him, and his lips clearly say, "I thought we were ahead."
And then in his press conference, he
What
said
else?
he backpedaled quite a bit, said he didn't. I will say, though, people are forgetting that there was an overtime played in that game. And at the end of the day, when you go back to that bench, that's up to LeBron, that's up to Ty Lue, that's up to someone to make sure that the team gets their heads back in check. Again, this is the NBA Finals. There's no time to be keeping your tail between your legs and being upset in an overtime of the finals. I just didn't like the way that the Cavs rebounded. It was upsetting to me.
So now let's move on to Game 3 tonight. Will the Cavs be able to take this one?
Alexis, The Cavs will take this one. LeBron James is not going to be embarrassed like this again. He's the best player, in my opinion, of all time. I think that they're going to rebound tonight. I think Kyle Korver is going to start hitting shots. We might even see Rodney Hood get involved. I know that's a hot take, but you never know. And I think that LeBron is not going to let his team lose in Cleveland. I have a feeling that the Cavs will take this one, maybe even by double digits. But this feels a little bit like walking a tightrope, because if I make it to the other end, and they do win, I look smart. But like, if I fall off, you guys are gonna say like, of course she was gonna fall. Anyway, I have Cavs tonight.
Hogan, who's gonna take it? There's no chance that that's gonna happen, barring a catastrophic injury. And I think only even Steph going down would be the only thing that could change this, because LeBron is done. After the game, I mean, he's gonna get his. He's gonna score. He's going to have a great stat line. But after game 2, he basically said, how much more can he do? How much more picking up of his teammates can he do? He brought him to the finals. He had 51 points in game 1.
Did you think that was shady that he said that? When LeBron got up at his press conference and he said, I can't pick up my teammates anymore at this point.
It's about time he gets shady.
Yeah, for the leader that he wants to be, claims to be, and I mean, he is for sure one of the 2 greatest basketball players of all time. It wasn't a good look, but can you blame him?
Can you blame him? No, not at all. Not at all.
He deserves way better. But not too long ago, we were holding our breath when Steph Curry was out of the beginning of the playoffs. Now he's playing out of his mind. Lauren, do you think Steph is the clear Finals MVP?
Well, Alexis, we got to see what happens with the rest of the series. The Cavs aren't out of it yet. I have this game going 6. I have this series going 6 games. I think depending on what happens in those next few games, we'll figure out if Steph is going to be the MVP. But my question is, why aren't we talking more about KD for MVP? I mean, even in the Rockets series, he was not playing like one of the 3 best players in the world, which is what we all give him credit for. So I'm curious about what you guys think about KD sort of fading into the background in this playoffs.
He's probably like, I got mine last year. Let's give it back this year, part of that like super team dynamic. But Hogan, what do you think?
It is weird. I mean, he was the clear favorite for MVP coming into this series, I feel like. And he was, a dominant Finals MVP last year. But he hasn't been the same player. Steph has been incredible. 9 threes, Finals record in Game 2. But the most valuable player is LeBron James. Even if they get swept, if he's averaging 40 points in this Finals, 49 and 9, something like that, along those lines. I mean, we've never seen a stat line like that in the Finals. And I think he could be the second player since Jerry West to be the Finals MVP for the losing team, which would tie him with Jordan for the most Finals MVPs with 4. So I think you have to go LeBron. He's so clearly the most dominant player, the most valuable player in this series.
Well, Hogan, that leads me to something that we've all talked about quite a bit this season. I think there's a huge difference between MVP and best season. And that's a shout out to Rachel Nichols, a Medill alum, who has been saying this for years. At the end of the day, the NFL treats it like this. Other leagues treat it like this. Who was the most valuable player this year, bar none? LeBron James.
LeBron James.
But who had the best season and who had the best offensive season?
James
LeBron.
Harden.
No, James Harden.
I don't stand James.
Any way you slice it, it seems like, and I'm positive that, James Harden is going to win the MVP this year. But is he the most valuable player in the NBA? Absolutely not. So I think we need to split these awards up. I don't know if you have to split it up for the finals too, if there needs to be a finals MVP and a finals best player. But LeBron is the most valuable player in the league, and he has been for a long time, and it looks like he's going to continue to be for at least a few more years. You got to start giving him credit for that, and then looking at the other awards.
Yeah. All right, so guys, now it's time for the quick shoot-around segment. I'm going to ask Lauren and Hogan some questions. They're going to give me some quick answers. First up, we've seen a lot of playoff outfits that have become instant classics this offseason, from Swaggy P's pajamas but make it fashion look, and LeBron's shorts. My question is, what is your ideal playoff outfit?
Well, for me, this is a no-brainer. Speaking of pajamas but make it fashion, all of these players are staying in really nice hotels the night before these games. You know they have some plush bathrobes. For me, it's all about comfort. You steal those slippers, you steal that robe, you rep it going into the stadium, and I mean, the hotel gets publicity, the player is comfortable, especially if the player is me. I'm going robes, but with the Louis Vuitton dop kit that they all have for sure.
Ooh, no. I think you have to dress it up. This is the NBA Finals. I think that LeBron's custom-tailored suits that he got for the entire team, for the Cavs, that they wore throughout the Celtics series, even though they did go 0-3 on the road in them and then did not wear the suits for Game 7. But as far as looks, that's the best look. Maybe a classic three-piece suit, got the sunglasses on, just a classic cool.
All right, so I'm going to hop in here and say my outfit. I'm definitely going to go with LeBron, like what he did. A short suit, white, tailored to perfection, with like a chainmail tube top underneath and the Christian Louboutin Cinderella
Now, does a
heels.
chainmail tube top, does that exist in the marketplace?
It does exist. You can get it from the boutique, a boutique in Miami.
There
It's
you
kind of
have
like
it.
a la Kendall Jenner's 21st birthday outfit dress, but
no
the top.
shorts, though.
Right, as all of our NBA viewers are super familiar with.
All
Kendall
shorts.
Jenner's 21st birthday dress.
You can't go with shorts the way LeBron did, especially when you're going to storm off from a press conference. I mean, you stand up and say, "Be better tomorrow,"
He
in
looked
your
so
little
cool,
short
though.
shorts.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
He looked so cool, though.
All right, guys, next question. So Kevin O'Connor of The Ringer infamously got stuck at Oracle Arena and had to climb a fence to escape. Let's say you get locked inside of the arena. What do you do all night?
Ooh, I'm getting shots up. I mean, I'm standing on the same floor as Steph Curry. Some of that magic is going to rub off on my jump shot. I'm going to get shots up for 8 hours. Who knows? The next pickup game, I'm going 10 for 10 from the three-point line. I mean, I would love to play on the same court that Steph Curry does.
Lauren, what are you doing?
Well, Alexis, Chris Herring tweeted about this after the last game, actually. There's nothing cooler than being alone in an arena where it was just full, where it was just popping and so loud. Being alone, hearing just the buzz of the lights is really special. So what I'm doing is I'm sitting mid-court, listening to the buzz of the lights, but also watching Netflix, maybe a little Famous in Love, maybe some old throwback films, just really taking my time off. I mean, our professors would want us to say that we're writing all of our drafts if we're stuck in the arena all night. And I'll write like a couple, but then I'll watch Netflix.
Yeah, I'm taking a metallic silver Sharpie and I'm tagging all the black spots that you would be able to see on camera during the finals. So I'll write my Twitter handle and get some extra followers from the exposure.
Oh,
great branding.
Your Twitter handle? What's your Twitter handle, Alexis?
At @actually_Alexis.
At Lauren M. Rosen.
I don't even know mine.
All right, but last
Sorry.
question, and possibly the most important
That's a shame.
one. Guys, who is winning this series?
Well, I already said it. I have Warriors in 6. It's looking a little bit more like Warriors in 5 to me, but I don't know. I trust Steph. I think he is going to end up being that Finals MVP, and we'll see it in the next couple games.
Hogan,
I'm not just wearing blue and gold because my mom said I looked handsome this morning, but because I'm ready for that victory parade for the Golden State Warriors, which I think is going to happen sooner rather than later. I'm thinking 4 games at most. If Steph goes 0 for 11 from the three-point line and Klay's ankle injury is worse than we thought or is swelled up on him, maybe we get to 5. Otherwise, it's a 4-game series. It's a sweep.
And then a quick one. Where's LeBron going?
And that's what I was going to ask. I was about to see if we had time for this question. LeBron James wants to win championships immediately, especially after this season. He needs teammates that can get him there with him, right? At first, it looked to me like that was either going to be Philly or Houston. Now we're seeing turmoil in Philly. I don't know if LeBron James, after this season especially, wants to go somewhere with even more drama after this whole Brian Colangelo fallout. I just don't see that happening. I think LeBron's coming to Houston. You heard it here first. Or no, you didn't. You heard it here like second or third. But I think LeBron is coming to Houston. I think at the end of the day, he's not a point guard, right? He's been forced to play point guard this year. So now go to a team with not 1, but 2 all-star point guards. And he doesn't have to have that role anymore. He has one of the best shot creators in the league, maybe the best shot creator in the league in Chris Paul. And I don't know. I see the magic coming to H-Town.
Where's he going?
I think that the Philadelphia 76ers need to fire Brian Colangelo. Just get him out, bring in David Griffin, who's got a relationship with LeBron James, and him, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, you've got Redick maybe running around hitting threes. That's the team that could absolutely win an NBA Finals, beat this Warriors team.
You really think he'll go somewhere after a drama-filled season with more drama?
If they bring in the right guy.
Yeah, sorry to break it to you guys. He's not going to Houston or Philly. He's going home to Miami. But that does it for us here on MST. Lorgan Hogan, thanks for talking NBA Finals with me. Thank you to our crew and to all of you watching at home for tuning in to Medill Sports Talk. As always, be sure to check out all of our episodes on MST on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Medill Sport Talk. I'm Alexis Colmer. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.